And welcome to The One Show with Alex Jones.
And Matt Baker. Now, on these cold winter evenings, what could be better than the company of a good storyteller? And tonight, we've got the best in the business.
Yeah, with 25 years of Jackanory under his belt, he's back on our screens, showing us how it's done. So, if we're all sitting comfortably, please welcome Bernard Cribbins. Bernard, we're on.
I'm sorry,
we're live, Bernard.
I dropped off then for a minute. Yeah.
It's the warm environment of the studio in these cold conditions.
It's nice to be in the warm, isn't it?
Yeah, how have you been finding it? Sorry, wait.
I don't really like winter anymore, I've decided.
Oh, really?
Are you over the snow, Bernard?
I don't like snow. I mean, it's all right now and again, but I've stopped sledging and skiing and all that sort of stuff. I never did skiing, so what am I talking about? I've no idea. Yes, but sledging and all that used to be fun, but I think as you get older, it becomes a bit of a pain.
Yeah.
No, of course.
Well, do you know, to be honest with you, with us as well on a live show, it's tricky. We've had a few problems with guests over the last few days. But listen, thank you.
I was surprised to see you two here.
Well, Mark Williams didn't make it, so thank you for coming in.
Do you know, we did have the idea of having a stand-in at Bernard. We hope you don't mind.
Really?
No disrespect, but yeah, at the St Bernard. And there she is, look.
Oh, I see.
With her owner, Kathy. So I'll tell you what,
look at that.
let's bring her over because she's working tonight, aren't you, my darling? Come on over. Thank you, Kathy. Right, Tia, let's have a little wander. Because... Come on in, Kathy. Come on over. There we are.
Hello, God.
Because Tia...
My goodness.
Something here. She wants a little drink of my water, I think, first. Darling, sit down. There's a good girl. And we will remove the goods around her collar.
Now, Tia's brought something
special. Is that
special
genuine in there?
Well, yeah.
4-star?
A bit of a winter warmer.
My goodness.
Do you want to do the honours here, Al?
Yeah, come on then. Have we got the pliers? Because it was a bit
Well,
stiff.
actually, Alex, I know you like a drink. You can have mine. No, I'll have this. I'll toast you in this corporation pot.
Do you want a bit of this, Al?
I'll tell you what.
I think
you would wait for a drink from that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you would.
I think that'll be enough.
Just a little bit of a winter warmer.
Let's have a look.
Wonderful.
I can't even get the plug back in.
Oh, lovely.
Nice.
Anyway, yes, but you're going to be doing a bit of work for us tonight.
It's still dripping. You're wasting it.
Yeah, all right, good lad, Bernard.
Get in there.
Sort us out.
Yes. Now, later on, Bernard, we're going to try and prove whether or not dogs have a sixth sense.
Really?
And that they know when their owner is coming home.
Really?
So, what do you think? Is there anything in there?
Oh, I think that's quite true. What have we had now? We've had beagles. Certainly with our beagles, we had 3 beagles. We had the old dam and we had 2 bitches from subsequent litters.
Yeah.
And they used to know when people were coming. But the best thing they did, it wasn't really psychic, but if my wife Jo was in the garden at about 4:30 when they were normally fed and forgot, the dogs would go out and they'd go, "Oi, have you seen the time? Come on," and get in. And, on the dot of 4:30.
What about Tia, Kathy? I mean, do any sort of psychic things there?
Certainly dinner time, as Bernard said, dinner time, absolutely. But she always seems to know when husband's coming home from work or back to shopping.
But that, I think, is habitual, isn't it? You know.
But to be honest, Tia, you didn't realise that Bernard was teetotal, did you? But so no psychic.
Tell you what, he must have had a few. He just collapsed then, didn't he?
It's a slippy floor. Anyway, later in the show, we will give you all the advice that you need if you are looking after your pets in these freezing conditions.
Yes, and speaking of which, if you do have any lovely pictures of your furry friends in the snow, send them in to us at the usual address.
Yes, and later, Tia here will be awarding Best in Snow.
Oh,
You like that, Bernard?
I like it.
Yeah. Now then, when it comes to driving in the snow, most of us, let's face it, should still have our L plates on.
Yes, but armed with a flask of hot tea and driving gloves, Lucy headed for snowbound County Durham for a lesson on ice driving. But you don't need any tips on getting around these conditions, do you, darling?
Did you wake up this morning to something like this? Well, I think it's fair to say that many of us are unconfident about driving in these challenging conditions. Well, I'm here to take the bull by the horns and learn from an expert how to drive safely in the snow. Good luck, everybody.
Peter Atkinson of the Institute of Advanced Motorists has been advising drivers for over 20 years. Boots full of our emergency kit, and I'm ready to go. Harsh winters are few and far between in the UK, so many drivers have never experienced conditions quite like this. Would it help if we were all more advanced drivers?
Visibility is not brilliant, is it?
No, it's deteriorating, I'm afraid.
I'm not as confident in these conditions because I'm not used to them.
That's true. Advanced driving is all about observation. Until you've seen the thing, you can't act upon it. And so we need our eyes up there, but we also need to watch the mirror. Now, you don't want to be going any faster than this up here, really. where we're going to meet this vehicle. Keep the momentum going.
Oh, you see, I shouldn't have slowed down there, should I?
Well, he's a four-wheel drive and he's going down the hill, so he should have given way to you, which he did.
So going up this hill, I need to keep my speed up. I don't want to stop, do I?
That's right, just keep it going at that.
Nothing's routine, is it?
No. When did you look in your mirror last?
Probably about an hour ago.
When we left the village? Yeah.
It was a while, wasn't it?
Well, this is what will happen. In a situation like this, we can nearly do all the braking with the engine. You just more or less forget about the brakes.
Now, there's a person very close behind me.
Yes, but what's the speed limit in this village?
It's 30.
Right.
Should I give them a piece of my mind?
Well,
I won't.
We don't encourage road rage.
I've got enough to do today.
So, under Peter's guidance, I've completed a circuit of local roads. There were a few hairy moments, but the emergency shovel stayed in the boot.
Well, I've always found snow magical, but driving in it, it's about experience, it's about understanding what you're doing, and it is about a lot of common sense and building up some skills. There's no magic about it.
No, it's terrifying driving in snow.
That's it, I know.
But Minnie Mouse is very good in snow.
Really?
You wouldn't have thought so, would you?
Yeah.
Anyway.
But just a little bit further north from where you were filming your new series.
Yes, indeed. Yes, we were up in a place called Staithes, which is 12 miles north of Whitby.
Yes.
And I'd never been into that bit of Yorkshire before, and the North Yorkshire National Park is absolutely stunning.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then that sweeps down to the sea as well, and you've got Sands End, where we used to drive through every day, down into 25-degree slope, I think, going into Staithes. So I don't know what they're doing this weather.
No,
They're all
definitely not.
on the sledges, you know.
Yeah, but this, I mean, it's all Jack's boat that you're back.
That's right, yeah.
With. And it's a beautiful, beautiful production, the way it's all.
Well, thank you very much. And when it was being set up, I was chatting with the producer, Dominic MacDonald. Hello, Dom. Good evening. And we were agreeing that the nice thing about it is that it harks back to Jackanory days, where you sit and you talk to a child in the lens, you know.
And what age would you say this is aimed at?
This is actually preschool children, you know,
Right.
sort of 4 to 6, something like that, yeah.
Because we were both saying, when it reminds us of the type of programmes we used to watch as children. It's gone back to the more traditional form of
But having said it's for children, I've had 4 adults ring me this morning saying that they enjoyed the first one yesterday.
Yes.
Yeah. And, well, 2 of them have been written by Russell T Davies.
2 of them have, yes. When I knew I was doing it, there were still stories to be written. And I rang Russell and said, what do you think about it? He said, yes, we'll have a go at that. And he produced 2 beauties. They're lovely.
Yeah.
I'm not sure which order they're being sent out in, but I'm looking forward to those.
Well, even though we enjoyed it, we are a bit old to review it. So over breakfast,
my children
watched
it, and well, this is what they had to say. Molly was a bit concerned about the state of your boat, I have to say at the start.
Yeah,
Here we
right.
go.
So are we.
It's all messy inside the boat, so they need to tidy up.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how good would you say that programme is that you've just watched?
Really good. Fabulous. Massively good.
The day will go by in the blink of an eye, just salty dog and me.
Have you got a question for old Jack?
Yeah. Why is old Jack's dog called Salty?
Yes. So
Very good question. That yes, she's called. Her real name is Scuzz. That's her real name. But for the play and the stories, she's called Salty because she's always in and out of the sea all the time, running about. Up in Staithes, which she was, and she comes out and she's all salty.
Salty.
So it was easy. Yeah, that's the reason.
I was reading that the thing you loved about Jackanory was the fact that you could go off piste a little bit, do all the voices of the characters and this. That,
it's a great show-off piece for any actor to do. Jackanory, you know, it was lovely.
And the idea of all the clutter in the boat is that you use those props to tell the story.
Yes, well, he's an old fisherman, and he's collected things, you know, for years and years and years, and a lot of those things in the boat are used in the story. He comes in and thinks, where's that pot of paint? Oh, there it is, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, I'll remember it. And he's off telling a story about a pot of paint or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Well, it is a lovely series, but I mean, recently you did speak out, Bernard, didn't you, about the fact that you're a bit worried about the state of children's television.
Oh, it's that old one. Yes, I did. I just think that an awful lot of children's television is, for me, far too noisy.
Right.
many flashing images, very fast editing, you know. And this one, I think, you know, has gone back to the gentle storytelling thing, which is what Dom and I wanted to produce anyway. Yeah. And it works, you know. Both, you know, your two children.
Yes, yes. And you can watch, well, if anybody wants to see it, it's kind of just before bath time at 20 to 6.
Well, that is the old Magic Roundabout slot, if you remember. You know,
there you go.
Just before the early evening news, Mum was getting Dad's tea ready, I suppose. The kids were being put in front of television. Keep that out of the way and totally absorbed with whatever was going on.
There we are.
Brilliant spot, yeah.
Yeah, lovely programme. Now, for all those younger viewers and those who just want to see Bernard, as Matt said, Old Jack's Boat is on CBeebies channel weekdays 20 to 6.
Yes. Now, of course, Bernard, it's not just telly that you've done.
No.
You've been in some huge films, including one directed by Alfred Hitchcock, and we will talk all about that very shortly.
Yes, but first, Larry Lamb's taking a look at the great director's early beginnings here in the UK. I hate crows.
They're coming! They're coming!
A master of his craft, Hitchcock's films famously toyed with our emotions through suspense and violence. And voyeurism. Without him, the modern movie landscape will be very different.
Cinematographer and friend Gil Taylor worked on Frenzy, one of Hitch's last big movies.
If you wanted to learn something or do something, he was the man to ask because he knew everything. He knew everything about the past, all the little anything that went on, he'd used it or done it. Hitch was a very inventive director. He was always looking for something to impress. He wanted to always something a bit big. He was very much alive to more or less everything that was going. Back projection, every kind of special effects you can think of.
Possibly Hitchcock's greatest gift was that he could generate and cultivate within us basic irrational fear, which could begin with something seemingly harmless or innocuous.
His scenes could last for minutes without dialogue. The pictures and music alone building tension in the viewer. So where and when did these techniques begin?
Long before the Hollywood glitz and glam, there was London grit. Hitch made 23 films right here in Britain before leaving our shores in 1939. And what you might not know is that it was Hitch's 9 silent films shot between 1925 and 29 that laid the foundations for his remarkable career. A career which might well have foundered after just 3 features.
The Lodger is about a murderer on the loose in London.
When the film was finished, it was on the shelf for about 2 months, and then they decided to show it after all. They felt they had an investment. And was acclaimed as the greatest British picture ever made to that date. So there you see is that thin red line between failure and success.
Originally, Hitch shot 10 silent films, but all reels of The Mountain Eagle have sadly been lost. Since 2010, the remaining films have been lovingly restored by the British Film Institute, who've also made some fascinating discoveries. When Hitch's first ever feature, The Pleasure Garden, was syndicated around the world, regional editors cut it to suit their country. Now, by collecting 5 film prints from abroad, the BFI have added 19 minutes of new material thought lost for 88 years, which have transformed the film's pace, rhythm and structure. Today, I'm one of the lucky first few to see it.
What exactly have you put back in?
We've put back a lot of the performances of some of the secondary characters, and actually some of their scenes are absolutely vital to the understanding of the whole movie. And what we've got here are a couple of characters called the Sides. They're the landlord and lady of our leading lady. What they do is they help us understand that the character on the right here, called Jill, is a little stuck up, to say the least. We don't need to hear a word from her. We know precisely what she thinks about the new woman who's just moved into her house.
And what's the purpose of the dog?
What's so fantastic about getting more of his performance back in is that he's actually the moral compass of the film. So you watch Chum and you know what to think, you know who the goodies are, you know who the baddies are. Unless you've seen the silent films, you can't really understand Hitchcock's career. Everything that was to come in the later sound movies, you can see here right from day one.
Time may have marched on, but movie moments free of the clutter of language remained at the core of Hitch's ideals and his global appeal.
Power of cinema in its purest form is so vast because it can go over the whole world. On a given night, a film can play in Tokyo, West Berlin, London, New York, and the same audience is responding emotionally to the same things.
Thank you, Mr. Hitchcock. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Boo.
That's me every time.
Thank you, Larry. Well, Antonia Quirk is here from Film 2013. But firstly, Bernard, you starred in Hitchcock's penultimate movie, which was Frenzy. And I mean, he's portrayed in lots of different ways, Alfred Hitchcock. But what was your lasting impression of him then when he directed you?
I think at that time he was becoming a tired old gentleman.
Right.
He sat down the whole time. I sat beside him one day and we were chatting about the scene I was going to play with Anna Massey. And then we were just going on chatting, and I made the mistake of quoting a limerick or something like that. The next day, he brought in a book of limericks. Apparently, he's a nut for limericks.
Really?
Wow.
Jokes. He loved little jokes all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. So many people have said he knew everything about.
Yes, absolutely extraordinary. But doing that scene was very odd. He was sitting here.
Yeah.
The camera pulled. We came towards camera, Anna and myself. Went round a corner, up a flight of stairs, so Hitch didn't actually see the scene finish. And it got to the end, cut. He said, sound, absolutely fine, sir. Lighting, that's fine, Mr. Hitchcock. Yes. Camera, nothing wrong there, sir. Okay, print it. But he trusted his group so much. It was wonderful.
And you as well, then, I guess.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, shall we have a look at it?
Yeah,
Let's have a look at the clip. Here we go.
Yeah, go on.
See how good it is.
My stocks have been well down this past month.
Now, you watch what you're saying.
What, to a thief?
What's going on? Our friend here says that I've been pinching his booze.
Ridiculous. He always pays.
How would you know?
Well, I work with him, don't I?
And what else?
What's that supposed to mean?
Just keep out of this, will you, Babs? Come on, Blaney, outside, you're fired.
You can't do that. He never stole nothing in his life. He puts the money in the till. I've seen him.
A thief or a boozer, it's all the same to me. I don't need either one as a barman.
There were a lot of moustaches there, weren't there? I was surprised Anna wasn't wearing one. Yeah.
But Antonia Hitchcock obviously spent a lot of time over in Hollywood, but he returned to his roots, didn't he, for Frenzy?
He did, and he literally returned to his roots because it was filmed in Covent Garden Fruit and Veg Market.
Yes, our pub was there in Covent Garden. Yeah, still there, of course. Yeah.
But his father had been a grocer, and so Hitchcock spent a lot of time with his dad at that very market. So he really did go back home in a sense for that film.
Okay. Oh. And there's a brand new film based on Hitchcock, of course, out next month, starring Anthony Hopkins, who looks brilliant.
He does,
and playing Hitchcock, and Scarlett Johansson. I think we have a clip before we talk about it. Here it is.
Just gonna have to go it alone, my dear. Finance it ourselves.
Anthony Perkins, the rage lurking beneath that little boy grin.
And just think of the shock value, killing off your leading lady halfway through.
You shouldn't wait till halfway through. Kill her off after 30 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, yes, Helen.
Doesn't it look fantastic?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. This film's all about his relationship with his wife, Alma, who he married when they were both 27, and they were very close collaborators.
Wasn't she an editor or something?
She was a brilliant editor and a fantastic continuity person and general eagle eye, and he depended on her a great deal. But I think, bear in mind, if you see this film, which is entertaining in its own right, and also if you saw the movie about the birds with Sienna Miller on Boxing Day.
That's right.
Neither film particularly portrays Hitchcock in a flattering light.
No.
And just bear in mind, however entertaining they might be in their own right and what have you, that Hitchcock was a genius, therefore there's nothing we like more than to tear our geniuses down. And also, he was a rather secretive and private individual in real life, and a little strange. And so that has left him open to all sorts of interpretations.
Speculation, all that,
about his motivation and, you know, his work process.
Tough on his family, isn't it?
It is, But I was telling Matt, I'm reading a book about Ingrid Bergman, and in that he's portrayed as a real father figure.
Yes, and
really
to Grace Kelly
so
too. He was gentleman, so depending on who you're listening.
Exactly.
Thanks, Antonia, thank you very much. It's really interesting how he used animals and all this, that and the other.
Lots
to
of
build
animals.
suspense and everything.
Show full of animals.
Fancy training all those birds as well.
He was incredibly talented, Well, now it's time to find out,
here we go,
Bernard, if dogs are psychic.
Go on then. Where?
Yeah, psychic, all right, psychic, not psycho. Anyway, we did ask Tia the St Bernard to predict who would present this film, and this is what happened.
Right. So here we are. We have Giles, Lucy and Mike. A biscuit in front of each one of them. So Tia is now going to pick a biscuit and pick a presenter as she does so. So she goes for Mike.
It's just remarkable how she senses that animal magnetism.
Isn't it?
Straight over to Mike. But unfortunately, Giles was the only one available.
I was going to say that was the nearest biscuit.
It's well established that dogs have senses that are far superior to ours.
A dog's nose has 40 times more smell-sensitive receptors than our own. Dogs' ears can detect frequencies of up to 60,000 hertz, far higher than we can.
But what's less well known is the suggestion that dogs have a mysterious canine sixth sense.
In a survey of dog owners, more than half said their friends and family had reported that their pets regularly sat at the front door anticipating their return long before they arrived. Meet Mary Motter, Jenny Adams and Leslie Gold, and their dogs, Bee and Felix, Saxon and Sophie, and Leica. They've agreed to take part in a one-show experiment. With cameras placed in each of their homes, we'll be trying to tell exactly when their dogs go to the front door to wait for them. The experiment we've set up was originally devised by former Fellow of Clare College, Cambridge, Dr. Rupert Sheldrake.
What are the obvious explanations of this behaviour?
There's routine, is at the same time every day. There's hearing a familiar car. There's smelling somebody approaching. There's looking at clues from people at home.
So once the obvious have been eliminated, what are we left with?
There's not much left except telepathy. I think what the dog's picking up is the person's intention to go home.
It's a theory many dispute, but one which goes back to 1994, when Pam Smart, a woman from Ramsbottom near Manchester, claimed her dog, JT, had an uncanny ability to tell when she would be coming home. An Austrian film crew made a documentary about her. The evidence on tape is certainly compelling. Here's Pam getting up to go home, and at the same time, JT gets up to wait by the window, 20 minutes before she actually gets home. Dr. Sheldrake stands by his controversial claims.
My research has shown me that when we have people go at least 5 miles away, come home at random times they don't know in advance, when the people at home don't know when they're coming, when they're travelling by unfamiliar vehicles, and there's no possibility of them being smelled from 5 miles away, dogs can know over and over again. We've done this hundreds of times with dogs that reliably do this.
Our cameras took shots every 15 seconds. After running the experiment for 3 days, have we captured similar, otherwise unexplained behaviour? Here's Leica waiting at the top of the stairs, but only 1 minute and 15 seconds before Leslie arrived home. It's possible he might have heard her coming. At Jenny's house, it was a different story. One evening, Sophie went to the door 40 minutes before her owner came home from work. But on a day when Jenny was early, Sophie was nowhere to be seen until Jenny opened the door. Sophie might not be psychic, but she does appear to know her owner's routine. At Mary's house, little sign of Felix, but Bee's results were intriguing. Whatever the time Mary left work, the dog seemed to know about it. Day 1, 25 minutes before Mary came home, Bee got up and appeared more alert. Day 2, Bee exhibited similar behaviour, once again becoming more alert 20 minutes before her owner came home through the door, even though it was a different time of evening. Then day 3. B gets up 50 minutes before Mary's return. Was she too early? Perhaps not. She got up at the moment Mary left work. What she didn't appear to know was that her owner's journey time would take longer. Mary arrives, shopping bags in hand, having stopped off at the supermarket. Coincidence? Or is B actually psychic? It'll take a good deal more research before the skeptics think there's a paranormal force at work. I know what I think. Woof woof.
The most inconclusive experiment we've ever conducted on the One Show.
Keeps the jeopardy going, though. I mean, Tia was absolutely gripped by that. Absolutely gripped. But we're now joined by Lisa Richards from the RSPCA.
Hi,
Lisa, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that, you know, dogs,
it's an
animals
interesting
in general?
one. Yeah, I think possibly it needs a little bit more research, but dogs are incredible. I mean, they can sense, you know, they're really sensitive to subtle environmental cues, so they do pick up on a lot of things.
But it's probably more routine, isn't it? Than
yeah, I mean, they form associations with things, and they, you know, they like a predictable routine. So it could be.
I think there's definitely something there. I say in my scientific.
Oh yeah.
But, anyway, you've been inundated, haven't you, over the last few days with calls from worried pet owners?
We have. Well, we've had over 500 calls in the last 4 days, mostly from people concerned about dogs being kept outside in the snow, not having access to shelter and somewhere warm and dry to escape from the weather, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are your tips then for people who are concerned about their pets? How can they keep them warm?
Well, there's lots of simple things they can do, really. I mean, it sounds obvious, but just providing a dry, warm, comfortable bed for them to sleep on, so somewhere for them to escape away from the cold weather. Some dogs are more susceptible to the cold, so dogs that are slightly underweight, old or young, they may need a little bit more protection, so quite often they'll benefit from wearing a coat when they go outside. So it's just important, really, just to make sure that the coat's well-fitting and it doesn't restrict their movement when they go out.
Now, our cats at home, they're very independent anyway, but should you be slightly cautious about, you know, if it's predicted it's going to be really cold overnight, to just keep them in, make sure you know, shut the cat flap over, or...
Yeah, it's just about being aware, really. So the most important thing, really, is to provide, again, somewhere warm and dry that they can go to. So if they are outside and they get hit in a snowstorm or something, then they've got somewhere warm and dry they can escape to.
And we were talking earlier about, you know, them gritting the pavements, which, of course, for us humans is a brilliant thing, but for dogs, not so much, is it? It can be very dangerous.
Yeah, it can cause problems. So grit contains rock salt, which if a dog eats it, can be poisonous to them. So it can cause signs like vomiting, lethargy, and in really severe cases, it can cause kidney damage. So prevention is the key, really. For
and their paws get affected too. I remember, you know, splits the pads and that sort of stuff.
Exactly,
Very sore,
So after a walk, the key thing really is to wipe their paws.
Yes, well, we used to stick our beagles' feet in warm water and then dry them off. And they love the attention anyway.
Well, like a little foot spa for them.
Well, that's it. Just a normal bucket there, just in warm water.
Nice.
Paws go in. It's not too.
Then they stand there doing this. You go flip, flip, flip.
Well, I have to say, Tia, you're looking fabulous considering there's so much snow outside. You really are. You really are beautiful. But there's lots of beautiful pets out there as well.
There are.
So thank you to all. Oh, we're talking of cats going outside. This is from Katie, age 12. She sent in this lovely picture of her kitten Ted taking his first adventure in the snow. Look at that.
A kitten on a lead. Look at that.
Yes.
They laughed at me earlier. People do it. Now this is
Eskimo
Herbie.
Yes.
Herbie the dog relaxing in the snow. Grant O'Sullivan sent this in. Thank you,
Look
Grant.
at that. Plants and all. That's super. Sue Dunbar has sent in a picture of her Labradoodle called Doogie. Looks a little bit like Salty.
A bit like Salty, yes.
Very cute.
No, Scott is actually a Hungarian wire-haired Vizsla, but
yes,
she's very often.
Look at Muttley before we go.
Yeah.
And you might as well have a quick look at. There we are.
Oh my goodness.
One foot. There we are. Anyway, Tia's just zipping.
Bye, Tia. Well, thanks to both our Bernards and Earl Jack's Voters on CBeebies weekdays at 5:40.
Will tomorrow be the weather for leather trousers?
We hope
Find
so,
out.
because John Bon Jovi, oh yes, he's here for an hour. See you then. Good night.